Well, joining me now from Washington, D.C. is Omar Baddar. He's a member of the National Policy Council of the Arab American Institute. Thanks for joining us on TRT World. How damaging, Omar, are these attacks for Hezbollah?
Yeah, these attacks have been absolutely devastating. I mean, it seems clear that there had been a balance of deterrence between Israel and Hezbollah for a very long time, but there's been some sort of intelligence or security breach on the part of Hezbollah that has enabled Israel to locate and target its top military leadership for a while, and now potentially the head of the organization in Nasrallah. This has been absolutely devastating. But more importantly, it's clear that what Israel is actually pursuing is a war against the civilian support base of Hezbollah in the southern suburbs of Beirut. This is a war on the civilian population. We've seen the fact that the potential decapitation of Hezbollah has not stopped this intense bombing campaign of a very densely populated part of the Lebanese capital. And I think that this aims essentially into pummeling the population into submission and getting Hezbollah to retreat and surrender entirely, or potentially risk an all-out regional confrontation that Israel would be eager to drag the United States into.
OK, so a group that's certainly rattled, certainly damaged. What do you think Hezbollah will do next? What's their next move then?
Yeah, that is an excellent question. It's the million-dollar question. Hezbollah is in possession of really heavy long-range rockets. And the Secretary General, Hassan Nasrallah, used to always speak about the fact that if there was ever a major attack on Lebanon, on the capital Beirut, that Hezbollah would respond with a major attack on Tel Aviv as well. Well, we have now seen a major attack on Beirut come into being. And the question is that threat still on the table? Or has the decapitation of Hezbollah altered Hezbollah's calculus at this point, and whether they might potentially be retreating rather than expanding? Where Hezbollah also shines is in a ground war. And so there's also the theory that Hezbollah is going to be trying to draw Israel into a land invasion of Lebanon. And this is where you might see a completely different nature of the war between them, because the Israeli Air Force is always going to be superior to whatever rockets that Hezbollah is capable of launching. But the ground war repeatedly has shown, even back in 2006, been an example of where Hezbollah actually performs very, very well against invading Israeli troops. So we'll have to see whether that also comes into being.
Yeah, what would be your prediction for Israel then? Do you think they'll continue, as you say, these airstrikes, which, as you say, benefits them because of their superior air power? Or do you think that they are actually planning a ground invasion? We've seen them move troops closer to the Lebanese border. And if so, would that be a limited incursion, or do you think it will be full scale?
Yeah, if Gaza is any example, we've seen that Israel engaged in a very lengthy aerial bombardment campaign, essentially flattening the entire area before the troops actually went in, to kind of try to minimize any threat for invading troops. So I think that Israel, for the time being, is going to be content with a massive aerial campaign that risks very little on the Israeli side. And by the end of it, either Hezbollah capitulates entirely, or if that does not happen, then a land invasion becomes more likely a little bit farther down the road. I suspect that the aim would be to basically push Hezbollah back above the Litani River. This has been Israel's demand for a long time. It's amusing that Israel keeps citing the UN resolution about the necessity of Hezbollah with retreating, when Israel itself is in a violation of a mountain of UN resolutions. Its expansion in the West Bank is illegal. The conduct, the way it has carried itself in this war against Palestinians, eating up their land and abusing them and violating their rights and carrying out war crimes against them, is an obvious violation of international law. So Israel really is not in any kind of position to kind of reference international law and UN resolutions, and yet they have the gall to do it right now in a context in which the U.S. seems to be enabling them indefinitely.